that can only be done through a really strong emphasis on social sciences and humanities. While the other sciences are extremely important, also in terms of inculcating the scientific temper, methodology, and a kind of playful curiosity about the world around us, we also need to have that curiosity about our social circumstances. So we don't just accept that this is what the government is doing, or this is how caste discrimination operates, or this is how patriarchy operates, or this is how now half the number of schools that are supposed to be inoperational, instead of actually strengthening those schools, we're going to shut them down. In a country that is as poor as our country, despite the official narratives of how we are emerging and so on and so forth, right? So how do we actually get a sense of a kind of our own social circumstance, and how we can then, through that informed perspective, through that knowledge, collectively reshape those circumstances? And to me, that is another kind of bridging that needs to happen, whether it is through translation of works, whether it is through embedded knowledge and, an analysis of experiences, social experiences, of the students themselves, of the teachers, the same kind of social embedded experiments that Professor Rampal was pointing to at a social level. What is it that is lacking? What is it that we need to, what is it that we want out of our lives? What is it that we want out of our education systems, right? So to me, these 2-3 dimensions have to be thought about hand in hand. And while I don't want to overemphasize the role of the NGOs, I also feel that there is a time for actually using that protected space, because in these times when anything that seems critical, that seems that you can talk about caste or talk about patriarchy, seems to be under the radar for all, under government censure for sowing division, when it is actually overcoming division by acknowledging those differences, right? How can these protected spaces actually collaborate in ways that we can make this part of the education system and teaching learning experiences, and not reduce education to simply learning skills like reading, writing, but also develop the faculties of critical thinking, which cannot happen outside of actual knowledge, historical knowledge, political knowledge, social knowledge, and critical reflection on our experiences. So I think I'll just stop with that. Thank you.
End of Dr. Sampath's presentation, she hinted as to what actually happens within the classroom and what should actually be critical when we think about how we design what actually gets transacted in the classroom. So I think to deepen our discussion on that, I'd like to please talk to us a little bit about curriculum design and pedagogy.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, all. Let me start from the where we started. See, I think, do you need a presentation? It will take some time, maybe. Maybe we'll just can run through. See, in mid-80s, Rishi Valley started a small rural school for the people who are working in Rishi Valley. So then the surrounding villages, students used to come, and then there was a crowd in the classroom, and then we have hardly 2 to 3 teachers to handle all those 40, 50 students. That was the starting point. So then in the classroom, there are many challenges even now. So surprisingly, most of the challenges are still continuing even now from the mid-80s onwards. So then the group of teachers have collaborated with each other and then had a lot of research-oriented workshops and all. So they have found kind of, they arrived at a place where they can teach each and every child and having a multi-grade situation in the classroom. Which means, in the same classroom, there are different age group children are there, and then the teacher will be teaching to each one of them in individual manner and some group activities and all. So it was working out well. Then after some time, a group of communities, villages, they have started approaching us, and then they want us to set up a school in their own villages also. Because they have seen some children, like what Venkatesh sir morning, first session. The same kind of questions were there. వీళ్ళు పనికి పోతే ఏదో ఒకటి 4 రాళ్ళు వస్తాయి, స్కూల్కి వస్తే what is the use? That was the question from the community most of the times. So it took a couple of years for us to understand the importance of school. So in this process, we have also involved a lot of community based activities also. So based on that, the different, I think almost like 16 to 17 villages have come together, and then they asked us to set up their schools in their own villages where the government schools are not there. And most of the villages are rural areas, so on the top of the hill. Even it's only walking is the medium to reach there, not even bicycles. So villages are located in such a places. So we have started, and then now the group increased, 16, 17 teachers are there, and then we have started working towards the challenges that we were facing in the classrooms. So mostly the challenges are same. Even after 4th standard, 5th standard, they were not able to read and write. Is the basic. Even now the same challenge is there. And inactive, only the teacher is delivering some lessons or on a blackboard and all, then some children are learning, and then some of them are not able to learn, not able to cope up. In the villages again, migration is there. If any festival, if any wedding, so they'll go to another village and then they'll come back only after 10-15 days. So then catching up with the previous lessons and all it's very difficult for them, and then if the teacher is not able to address those challenges, then slowly these children will become a kind of a dropouts at one point of time. So that was the situation. So to looking at all these challenges, we have started working towards how we can make these children again rejoin and then mainstreaming them into the classroom and all. So the activity based learning, so for MGML, we call it multi-grade, multi-level, and activity-based learning. That is what we thought of doing it, and then that helped us a lot in the schools. And almost 100% of the students are able to learn and all. So I'll also show you a short clip on it. So you just see that classroom, just 2 minutes thing, and then I'll talk about it later. Can you please? సౌండ్ ఉంది సార్, సౌండ్ ఉంది.
What we find here is completely different. The typical orderly formation is completely broken. Children are sitting in different groups, learning by themselves with a set of colorful cards in their hands. The teacher is no longer the towering figure that he previously was. but is sitting on children and going over the work done by them. Through his new role, he creates a friendly ambience which goes a long way in making children more communicative, confident, thinking persons, no longer frightened of the adult. The children are quietly immersed in their respective learning activities, yet without the teacher's commanding presence. There are other aspects to this system which are unique. Children learn not just on their own or with the help of the teacher. There is peer learning and group learning taking place all the time. This helps children to learn to cooperate and engage with others right from a young age, and this gives them a tremendous social advantage. The learning materials are in the form of graded cards with easily identifiable animal logos and colors. Each card corresponds to a learning step in the ladder. The ladder has assessment and revision cards with milestones corresponding to well-defined learning goals. For the first time, traditional puppetry has been brought into the classroom as a pedagogic tool. Even arithmetic is taught through a series of game activities so that children absorb naturally and comprehensively the basic concepts of the discipline. The environmental science program integrates extensive outdoor activities like observing nature closely and interacting with community elders. How have parents received the river methodology? The initial tentativeness gives way to a wholehearted acceptance in due course as the parents see their children better motivated, confident, and learning well. And metric melas, yet another innovation by River, help in turning the parents' perception around. Facilitating such a rich environment of learning requires a reorganization of the timetable, with careful planning and preparation on the part of the teacher. The multi-grade environment that by default prevails in most schools in the country and is generally perceived as problematic is turned into an advantage in the River approach.
Slide number maybe 5. So that was the classroom, as a simple classroom that we were doing, where activity-based learning is going on, and then children are sitting in a groups, and the groups are not based on the abilities, like groups are based on the teacher's time and the kind of activity that they are doing. So how did this classroom process work? So you could see the learning ladder over there. So we call it a learning ladder. Learning ladder is like a whole year syllabus where each milestone we are calling it is nothing but it's a lesson. So we have divided whole year syllabus into a small milestones, and then each milestone will be having a set of activity cards. It starts from introduction activities, practicing activities, and assessment activities, and enrichment and remediation activities will be there in each and every lesson. So now the children, each one of them supposed to start from the beginning, and then they have to complete one activity, and then next, and then next, and then next. Whenever they took off, like for example, after 1 week, if they come back, they can start where they were there previously last week back, 1 week back. So same thing, that is what we have designed for a grade 1, 2, 3, and 4, so which are basically the basic skills. So reading, writing, and environmental subjects and all. So which includes a lot of other theater activities, community application activities, where they have to go to the villages and then they have to collect some information. So I'll be talking about the community activities also. So but basically our lessons are like this, and it is very transparent, and then the teacher plan, basically it's the teacher's plan, and it is displayed in the classroom, and each one of them can access it, and then they know their progress also, where they are, and then what to do next, what they have done. If they have completed, then only they will go to the next activity. So therefore, each one of them will take it their own time, like they learn on their own pace. It's not that everybody is moving together without learning also. So here everybody will get an opportunity to interact with the teacher, and everybody will get an opportunity to complete their task, and then after learning only they will move forward. If someone is lacking behind, that's where the teacher's job will start, giving them extra support, remediation and then pushing them towards other children and all. But of course, in this ladder itself, there are a lot of group activities where everybody will sit together, like singing songs, maybe explaining certain concepts. Those are all inbuilt in this learning ladder. Yes, this next. There are some sample activities that are there, and every card will be having some instructions, transactional instructions for the teachers, so that it will become more easy for the teachers to what to do when they reach at particular level. Yes. Next. This is how our satellite school looks like. This is a small house in a rural area in the villages. So this is where you have seen that village. You have seen the film in this school. Yes. Next. Yeah. So basically, see, this is how the classroom is arranged. Teacher support, partly teacher support, peer support, and self-learning. And these groups, children will be keep moving from one group to another group in that cycle. See, certain activities they'll be doing in the teacher-supported group, where they'll get some support from the teacher, and then they'll move to next group where they can do on their own a little bit, but teacher support is necessary there also. Some activities with the peer support, and some of them are self-learning activities. So this cycle will be there in each and every lesson, and then every child will be moving around these 4 groups. Yeah. Next. Yeah, so in this process, we have also involved community as much as possible, and up to what extent that they can contribute, that we have seen, and then we have involve community members. So from the community, what we thought, no, it's like we call it a mothers committee. We are not having a SMCs like SMCs in the government also, but before that also we used to have a mothers committee. 2-3 mothers will be like leading the mothers community, and then all the mothers used to come to the school for meetings and all, because in our area, most of the male, they'll migrate from that particular village to either Bangalore or Madanapalli, so most of the time they won't be available. So only the women are available in the villages, so we had that mothers committees. So in the mothers committees, we discuss various things, like we show them how their children are progressing, and we also give midday meals, and then breakfast. We also give breakfast for the children. So we discuss those things, and then health and hygiene related things we discuss with them on monthly basis. So, and next. So, and we also, it's a part of their curriculum, they're part of their classroom. 3rd class and 4th class children, they go back with the kind of assignments where they have to collect stories from their grandparents or maybe from their mothers. So we collect all those stories, and then we will make it like edited and then kind of a book form, and then that stories will become part of their reading material in their classroom things. So, and the kind of dialects, and we keep the words and dialects as it is. So we won't make it like more polished version or textual version kind of thing, because every 2-3 kilometers different dialects will be there in our area. So we use the stories with the same dialects. So you can find that kind of booklets, calendars, and story cards from the village community only, parents. Next. So Metric Mela, anyway, you have seen just now in the film. So Metric Mela is one to answer the question that what is that our children are learning in the classroom. That was the question. So yearly once we used to organize a Metric Mela where children will get an opportunity to apply or to see the mathematical concepts in their day-to-day life. So which is like a Mela is like a kind of a celebration where we measure their heights, weights, and then nose measuring, and some guessings, estimations will be there, and then some challenging games will be there. There are a number of stalls will be there, and then we invite the local people and then the nearby schools so to take part of the Metric Mela. So in that we also collect the data. So how many people have come, and then what is their height, what is their weight, and then from that data we used to have a word problems and then mathematical concepts inside the thing, because now most of the people are known to the children because their relatives and their neighboring people. So with that data we used to have a mathematical concepts inside the classroom. So and the parents also will come to know that how children are learning and then how they are responding when it comes to, there will be a couple of stalls where they will be selling certain small items like bhaji or tea, dosa, idli kind of thing. So the money transaction also will happen there with the limited things, and hygiene issues also. I mean, we will also talk about hygienic, how to preserve those things and then putting a lid on it and all those things. and then the calculations to make one dosa, how much budget that you need, and also we discuss all those things, and then preparations will be there. On that metric mela day, the people will come and then they'll enjoy all the things, and then post mela we'll be having all these discussions with our students. So how it went and all. Next. Yeah, it's a puppetry is another thing. See, this is a dying art form. We know that earlier, before televisions and all, there's a group of people who used to travel from one village to another village and all. And near our place, there is a place called Dharmavaram in Anantapur district, where the traditional puppetists are still there, but they are not performing shows and all. But we learned from them, and then we are performing shows, and then we are also teaching students to perform those shows on their own lessons. It's not that Ramayana, Mahabharata and all, but they have to perform on their own lessons. Take a lesson, make it into a small scripts, and then make a puppets with a chart paper, and then present in your classroom in a way that you are covering one lesson, and then everybody will be involved in that, and then post show you can have a question answers and then discussions and whatever that you wanted to convey to them, and then we can have those kind of things. And this also helped us in motivating village youth also. We used to organize yearly once summer camps kind of thing, where we gather nearby youth, and then puppetry, theatre, all those things, just to engage them in the holidays. Otherwise, they will get into some other habits and other things. Since time is there, so they'll get into other activities. So we thought of involving them in these kind of activities. So we used to organize some camps for youth also on these issues. Next. Environmental survey. This is also there. Our environmental topics, we don't know textbooks. We don't have a textbooks for grade 1 and 2, but it starts from grade 3 onwards. But we have class 1, 2, 3, 4 at same kind of things. So what first we do is like, we'll teach students will go to the villages and they'll gather the information. They'll collect the data from the villages, and then after collecting the data, after interacting with the community, and then in the classroom we segregate that data. We'll start initiating the discussion on that data. So how many kind of, it's not a basically counting of it, but we will try to connect that information with their seasons of the people that we grow there, and like we have, I think 22 topics are there. We collect the data for those 20 topics, and then we discuss the whole year syllabus. Like that data itself is for our whole year syllabus for the environmental subjects. Next. In our this whole process, teacher training is one of the important things, because everything, whatever that we have discussed so far, the teacher is the key person in the classroom. So we want the teacher's capacity built so that he can take care of his own class and all. So there is a lot of teacher training programs will take place there, and then because the curriculum also we are not giving ready-made. We give only 70% of the content or 70% of the activities and all. The rest of the 30%, teacher himself or herself, they need to prepare on their own, based on their own needs, and that learning ladder will provide the space for them to where to add and where to make changes. That flexibility is completely given to the teachers. So each school has their own unique features in the classrooms in terms of content. 70% is centralized, and then 30% is there on local based kind of content that they use it. Next. Yeah, so done. So mostly they'll bring their local culture and local history, or local culture, or local stories, or local themes, into their classrooms, and then they will run as a class thing. Next. Yeah, so once we did similar kind of things in all these 17, 18 satellite schools. We call it satellite schools because we do a lot of experiments in the schools, so we are calling it as satellite schools, but it is not the technology related term. So people who came to visit Rishi Valley and other places, so they also saw these kind of model schools, and then they thought something it can be scaled up or maybe can be useful in their own context. So they customized it a little bit, and then they have implemented in their own areas, like in the states and all. So we have given certain limited technical support, and then there are few programs that you can see. Just some bridge program also, since it. Next. Yeah, this is also fine. Done. So we basically we do these kind of activities. We help the teams to design their own content, customized to their own context and all. So we also conduct capacity building programs for their teachers, and implementation up to pilot implementation we will support them, because when we start there is a lot of bottlenecks will be there. So we just help them in piloting the things, couple of schools or maybe 10 schools or 20 schools, and then later on they will take care of it. Yeah, and research and development is continuous process. Every day it is, every time it is going on. Like even now, it's challenges are there even now. Next, I think, yeah. So in this process, interestingly, there are a lot of universities are collaborating with us, Indian universities and then foreign universities also. We are getting a lot of research support from them, basically. So which is also helping us in look into our program in a different lens. Next. Yeah, I think that's all the question. If you have any questions, then you can, yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Very quickly give you a brief background of what is Pratham. Okay, I think this is better. Yeah, please, next. Pratham Education Foundation has just completed 30 years. Ours is a large-scale NGO working in about almost all the states in India, especially in the field of child education. We provide like quality. We believe in quality education is really important in today's context, and it's like, you know, basically there are 3 A's. Access to education, I think it's now we have achieved that. And then attendance in classrooms. Yes, there is about 95% of the children are attending the classrooms. And the most important thing is achievement. So I think that is the main, I think the issue as of now, the quality. Yeah. So we have various programs for different age groups of children. Say if you actually, you know, like, I mean, and also ours is like every child in school learning well is our mission. And for this, we have developed a lot of innovative approaches which are very simple and replicable, where large-scale operations can be, you know, done in the field. Especially, we work with governments also. Why? Because I was just talking to our friends. Ours is a, I mean, huge populated country, and we don't have time to do a lot of pilots and then, you know, do some kind of isolated kind of experiments. Yes, we have variety, like for example, Rishi Valley, just now he has mentioned, it's an excellent kind of a model. How it can be taken to large scale, where governments should adopt it, so that millions of children can be reached. So that is what is our approach. And also, you know, we have a strong research wing in our organization, where we believe in evidence and the data. So since 2005, we are doing a rural kind of, you know, annual status of education report, which actually talks about the learning levels of children in rural India. So, I mean, based on that data, how we need to actually design the programs is also very important. As he said, 70% of the curriculum is like, you know, uniform, and 30 we need to actually leave it to the teachers based on the flexibility. So it's like, I mean, you can't have a kind of centralized, of course we need to have centralized curriculum, but based on the needs also, how, you know, the teachers need to design. I think that is also one of the most important thing we believe in. Yeah, the next thing, next slide. So for the age group of 3 to 14, we have programs called early years programs and elementary programs. These early years programs, we work with age groups of 3 to 8 years to build their foundations. That is foundational literacy and numeracy, where we work with human development and child welfare departments, Anganwadi workers, and also communities. We have lots other groups, especially in about so many mother groups, and we build their capacities through sending some remote messages and calling them for them small meetings and workshops, and we designed some idea cards where QR code, if they just click it, some activity will pop up, and then they can do these activities at home with smaller kids like 3 years, 4 years and 5 years, because the mothers and fathers are really important to take care at this foundation stage. So similarly, we have another important program. This is elementary years. So we have launched a program called Hamara Gaon. It is like our village. Like Mr. Venkat Reddy sir also said that, government school is not government's, it is our own school. So similarly, like how volunteers and youth, they all can come together to see the change, at least in 3 years. If suppose a Pratham team is there, just only 1 or 2 people, but we have a goal to make sure all the children in that village should be able to read, write and do arithmetic. So these kind of programs we have designed, and most importantly, the approach and the program name is Teaching at the Right Level. That is thorough approach, where it's not that children sitting in the grades, but it's children sitting in their level base. Say for example, if children are not able to read at the beginner level and some children can read at sentence level, so how children can be grouped according to their levels and then can be progressed. So that is the program that we are in, and same these two programs we are largely partnering with governments also. So we do have some direct programs, like where our own Pratham team members, they go and they are like our laboratories, and then whatever that kind of results that we get in, we go to the government and then tell them, yes, you have to do this, because we are all paying taxes, that, and they have lots of money. Government, it's not that they don't, but only thing is they need some ideas, and on a fast track or whatever, they need some. So next important is we have this youth and training programs also, which focuses 18 to 30 years, about 8 major vocations. We have about 2,500 placement partners. For example, we have a partnership with Taj Group of Hotels, and we have partnership with L&T, Tata Motors, and then Lakme. So, they want people. And here in rural India, they want jobs. So we are like bridge between the business and then, near rural youth. So we have about 145 training centers across in India, where we mobilize rural youth. They come there, stay there for about 2 to 3 months, and we place them in the different sectors. So in Andhra and Telangana also, we do have about nearly 20 centers, physical centers. Next. So this is the most interesting and important program. We know that even girls at a very young age, they get married and then they drop out from the school, and because of various reasons, they don't actually continue their higher education, or at least up to 10th grade. So we have this program called Second Chance, where we mobilize young girls and women at up to 30 years, where they want to actually start their education again, so that we help them to clear their 10th certificate through NIOS, that is National Open School. So, sometimes mother and even the girl also, they both together, they come. So we ask, like, why you want to actually come and do this? She says, no, I want to actually appear for conductor exam, so I need this 10th certificate. So there are beautiful stories from the field where we get it. They have like lot of passion to complete this 10th class. So we have this program for girls and women. Yeah. And most importantly, this digital innovations, as it's very important during this COVID, almost 2.5 years the schools are closed. So during that time, I mean, even much before, the Pratham actually created a lot of open resource material. Now anyone can actually now access that. It is like prathamopenschool.org, where we have like very small videos. It's not related to the textbook, but how a cycle chain can be put, how a fuse can be arranged, electricity. Some very simple things. In 13 languages we have this digital content, and this digital content really helped us a lot during this COVID, where we were able to send messages to the parents and to the teachers. Say, for example, we have about 30 teachers. One of our staff, we have one staff member, 30 teachers. So the staff used to send the messages to 30 teachers, and the teacher will again send these messages to the parents. So like that, we were able to reach like almost millions of children in almost all the states during this COVID time. And really, this content helped us a lot. Yeah, next. This is some just like how we are actually trying to partner with government, so that this school systems, the systems can change. When we are talking about this sustainability, I think definitely we need to work with the system. That is what we believe in. So here, the early years program in almost all the states we are there. Yeah, the next one. Yeah. So just these are all like, when I said these large-scale partnership programs are really important, the country like India, because we really don't have time. That is what we always think about. So then, yeah, here is as I said, I will come to a specific kind of a program, this foundation literacy and numeracy, and why this is really important. And we all know that foundation literacy and numeracy is like ability to read with comprehension, and at least the children need to do arithmetic. It's not, some of the speakers said that it's not that just reading and arithmetic, we need to know many things, but at least some basic foundations are really important. That is what is we believe. Unless they can't understand anything in number recognition, suppose if they don't understand, even the subtractions they don't understand, they can't actually sit in 5th or 6th grade. Even 2nd grade itself, they have to do these subtractions and all. So as I just mentioned, this annual status of education report, which we release, which talks about the learning levels. So India has achieved almost universal school enrollment, yet as the ASER report says, schooling is not always learning. So this 2024 ASER report says 50% of grade 5 children are not able to read grade 2 level text. And 75% of the children in grade 5 solution. So always we can, it's definitely we can talk about issues and problems, but we have to have some solutions. So the solution is like different approaches, as I said. And this also this, as per the NEP, this foundation literacy and numeracy by grade 3 is also very, very important, and becoming the single most critical goal for all of us, like educationists, for all of us. So the Pratham's approach is like, as I said, evidence-based and community-based. And the solutions, I will just very quickly tell you 3 things. One is learning begins where the child is. A class 5 child in a small village in Odisha once told our volunteer, I can read only my name, not the story. So that honesty became the starting point for her learning. That means where the child is, we will start to build the learning. It's not that completing the syllabus. I think the teachers are always busy in completing the syllabus, but we have to really understand the child's learning also. And the second most important is teachers are the most powerful agents of change. We believe in that. Of course, there are issues, but still. In rural Andhra Pradesh, a teacher handling classes 1 to 3 once said, I used to feel I was failing the children because I could not teach all grades together. But after the foundation literacy and numeracy training, I realized I can start with play-based pedagogical activities that engage all levels. So when teachers receive mentoring and see learning improvements in real time, motivation replaces the frustration. So they begin to innovate within their classrooms. So the third important thing is community sustained learning beyond the classrooms. So we do have a lot of community, like I said, we have mobilized mother groups. We also have volunteers where they run the library programs in the evening times, like all the universities and college youth. We have like, the program, internship program. They come and actually teach, not exactly teaching, but reading stories and conducting library activities. And also we do have a program called Education for Education, where in rural areas, especially if someone wants to join in our program, we tell them, okay, you just teach. We give some kit, very simple kit, where a child cannot do subtractions, additions, and divisions, and cannot read sentences and stories, but we tell them in 1 month's time, this is your goal. We just give them some small training, and in turn, you can actually get a kind of, the computer course, or we do have a lot of courses online, virtually. So they can enroll the financial literacy course, for example. So there are different courses they can choose, and they can learn also. So like many youth, they actually participate in that way. Yeah. And with just a small best practice I want to show you how these large scale systems can work when NGOs or people like us can really push them and make them work. I think one small video I want you to play. This is a program called, this is focused on strengthening foundation literacy and numeracy in Andhra Pradesh. The program name is Supporting Andhra's Learning Transformation. In short, it is called SALT, supported by World Bank. And in last 3 years, we are working with state of Andhra Pradesh, working with 2 departments, that is Women Development and Child Welfare, and Department of School Education. How the convergence also is universities, they are also struggling to cope up, but the linkages are really important. Even the universities people can adopt some of the schools, and then they can see the continuum, how, high school students can actually progress to the university. Maybe I think that kind of models we have to bring in, where it should not be working in different departments and different segments. This is my university, so a university, or my school education only school, or intermediate board. No, we need to have a continuum and linkages. Then only, we can expect a kind of very good quality kind of an education. Yeah.
In the heart of Andhra Pradesh, a quiet transformation is taking shape in classrooms and Anganwadi centers among our youngest learners.
ముఖ్యమైన సమస్య ఏంటంటే పిల్లలు పిల్లల్లో 6 సంవత్సరాల్లో పిల్లలు 5 సంవత్సరాల నుంచి 6 సంవత్సరాల్లో పిల్లలు అంగన్వాడీ నుంచి మన పాఠశాలకు వస్తున్నారు. బేసిక్స్ అంటే పునాది కరెక్ట్గా ఉన్నట్లయితే పిల్లలు అక్షరాలు నేర్చుకోవడానికి కానీ గణితం నేర్చుకోవడానికి కానీ అవకాశం ఉంటుంది.
దాన్ని లక్ష్యంగా తీసుకుని ఈ దాన్ని అభివృద్ధి చేయడం కోసం ఈ సాల్ట్ ప్రోగ్రాం లక్ష్యంగా తీసుకుంది. అంకెలను అక్షరాలను గుర్తించడం.
Strengthening foundational learning isn't just a priority, it's the key to every child's future. To address this, the government of Andhra Pradesh launched SALT, supporting Andhra's learning transformation with support from the World Bank. The program is implemented by the Department of School Education through Samagra Shiksha, with Asar Pratham as the knowledge partner.
ఇప్పుడు మనం FLNలో చెప్పినట్లుగా 3 ఏళ్ల నుంచి 8 ఏళ్ల వరకు విద్యార్థుల్లో 85% అభివృద్ధి ఉంటుందంటాం కదా, ఆ అభివృద్ధి అనేది ఇక్కడ లోపిస్తుంది.
SALT places teacher empowerment at the core. Over 50,000 Anganwadi workers were trained through Gyana Jyoti, aligned with NEP 2020 and Nipun Bharat.
డొమైన్స్ అనేవి కొత్తగా నేర్చుకున్నాము. అవి మేము ఇంతకుముందు ఎక్కడా వినలేదు. ఇది మాకు కొత్తగా ఉంది, ప్లస్ ఉపయోగకరంగా కూడా ఉంది.
దీని తర్వాత ఏమైందంటే మేము వాళ్ళకి కార్డ్స్ చూపించడం, వాళ్ళకి కథకు సంబంధించిన మొత్తం ఒక చార్ట్ని, కథని ఒక సరైన క్రమంలో చూపించడం, వాటి ద్వారా పిల్లలు దాన్ని గుర్తుపెట్టుకుంటున్నారు, ఎక్కువ జ్ఞాపక శక్తితో గుర్తుపెట్టుకుంటున్నారు. దాని ద్వారా వాళ్ళు ఎక్కువగా నేర్చుకుంటున్నారు.
More than 34,000 primary school teachers completed Gyan Prakash, a 60-day training to adopt playful, child-centric teaching methods.
శిక్షణ పొందకముందు ఉపాధ్యాయులు పిల్లలకి పుస్తకాధారంగా ఎలా బోధన చేయించాలి అనేది ఉండేది, టీచర్ సెంట్రిక్గా ఉండేది. శిక్షణ తర్వాత ఉపాధ్యాయుల్లో కృత్యాధార బోధన అనేది అలవాటైన తర్వాత పిల్లల్ని గ్రూప్స్గా చేస్తూ, పిల్లల్ని గ్రూపింగ్గా చేస్తూ వాళ్ళతో యాక్టివిటీస్ చేయించటము, వాళ్ళతో చిన్న చిన్న యాక్టివిటీస్, వాళ్ళ నిడివి తక్కువ, వినే కాన్సన్ట్రేషన్ లెవెల్స్ నిడివి తక్కువ కాబట్టి ఒక 15 నిమిషాలకు ఒక యాక్టివిటీ, 15 నిమిషాలకి ఇంకొక యాక్టివిటీ, దాన్ని రీఇన్ఫోర్స్ చేసే విధంగా ఉపాధ్యాయుల్లో శిక్షణ ఇచ్చేలాగా.
ముందల్లా ఎలా ఉండేది, అక్షరాలు చెప్పడము, అంకెలు చెప్పడము, వాటిని గుర్తుపట్టడం అట్లా ఉండేది. కానీ శిక్షణ తీసుకున్నాక ఇట్ ఈస్ నాట్ వే టు టీచ్ లైక్ దట్. ఏదైనా హోలిస్టిక్గా చదవాలి, ఉండాలి, ప్లేవే మెథడ్లో ఉండాలి.
41 model foundation schools across 26 districts are showing what effective early education can look like: joyful, engaging, and inclusive.
ప్రతి యాక్టివిటీని రోజు మనము వాళ్ళకి పిల్లలకి చదువు చెప్తున్నట్టు కాకుండా యాక్టివిటీ ఫస్ట్ మనం లెటర్ ఐడెంటిఫికేషనే ఒక పలక చూపించేసి ఇది పలక అని చెప్తాము. ఇందులో లెటర్ ఏంటి అంటే పా పలక అలా చెప్తూ ఉంటాము. పడవ అలా అంటే పిక్చర్ బేస్ చేసి వాళ్ళన్నీ ఎలా చేసుకోవాలంటే పిల్లలు ఆడుతూ నేర్చుకోవటమే. ముందు లెటర్ ఐడెంటిఫికేషన్ నేర్పించాము ఈ మోడల్ ఫౌండేషన్ స్కూల్లో. లెటర్ ఐడెంటిఫికేషన్ అయినాక దాని తర్వాత నెక్స్ట్ పదాలు నేర్పించాము. పదాల తర్వాత వాక్యాలు నేర్పించాము. వాక్యాలు నేర్పించినాక స్టోరీ కూడా చదవగలుగుతున్నారు.
కొత్తగా నేర్చుకునే విధానం అంటే కృత్యాధార టాయ్ బేస్డ్ పెడగాజీ ఒకటి నేర్చుకున్నాము. తర్వాత కథల రూపంలో పిల్లల్లో అత్యధికంగా అక్షర జ్ఞానాన్ని కలిగించడం, వాళ్ళల్లో లిటరసీని డెవలప్ చేయడం, మాట్లాడే జ్ఞానాన్ని కలిగించడం.
తల్లిదండ్రులకు ఎక్కువగా నచ్చిందని చెప్తున్నారు. వాళ్ళు ఏ స్థితిలో ఉన్నారని తల్లిదండ్రులు తెలియపరచడం, వాళ్ళ ఇంటి దగ్గర కొంచెం ఎక్కువగా కేర్ తీసుకుంటున్నారు. వాళ్ళు అంగన్వాడీలకి వాటికి పంపించడానికి కూడా ఎక్కువ ఇంట్రెస్ట్ చూపిస్తున్నారు. ఇలాంటి విద్య బయట కార్పొరేట్ చూపిస్తున్నారు. అలాంటిదే మనం కూడా ఇంప్లిమెంట్ చేయడం వలన తల్లిదండ్రులు ఎక్కువగా మన దగ్గరికి పంపించడానికి ఇష్టపడుతున్నారు.
To bring structure and creativity into every classroom, SALT has introduced the Jadui Pitara, a foundational learning kit reaching 12,000 schools.
తమలో తాముగా నేర్చుకుంటూ యాక్టివిటీ బేస్డ్లో వాళ్ళ పియర్ లెర్నింగ్ అనేది అలవాటైంది. చైల్డ్ సెంట్రిక్ అలవాటైంది. పిల్లలకు తెలిసిన జ్ఞానం నుంచి తెలియని జ్ఞానాన్ని అలవాటు చేసుకుంటున్నారు. అలాగే పిల్లలు కూడా ఒకరి నుంచి ఒకరు నేర్చుకునే విధానం అనేది వచ్చింది. అంటే తెలిసిన విద్యార్థి నుంచి తెలియని విద్యార్థి కూడా విని నేర్చుకోవడం, ఇలాంటి పియర్ లెర్నింగ్ కూడా అట్మాస్ఫియర్ అలవాటైంది. ఇది యాక్టివిటీ బేస్డ్ వలన ఇది సక్సెస్ఫుల్గా నడుస్తుంది తరగతుల్లో.
Learning is also being measured more meaningfully with age-appropriate tools aligned to national policies and piloted in model foundation schools. Teachers are more confident, classrooms are more alive, and students are showing stronger skills in reading, comprehension, and numeracy.
ఈ ఎఫ్ఎల్ఎన్ అనే ప్రోగ్రాం 3వ వయసు పిల్లల దగ్గర నుంచి మొదలుపెట్టి 8 సంవత్సరాల వయసు పిల్లల వరకు కూడా మనం అవలంబిస్తున్నాము.
Teachers, parents, communities working together to build a brighter tomorrow. With strong foundations today, we are shaping strong futures for every child in Andhra Pradesh.
Yeah, of course there are many challenges also. It's not really easy. I mean, training about 34,000 grade 1 and 2 teachers and training about 50,000 Anganwadi workers, it's not an easy task, but that's what, when different stakeholders come together, it's really possible. That is what I thought. I really want to bring in some of the best practices model here. And as I conclude, I'm reminded of something a teacher in a small government school in Prakasam district said after a workshop. When my children read their first story aloud, I felt like the whole school came alive. So that is the essence of foundational learning, the joy of progress. So education is not about filling the classrooms, as we know, it's about unlocking potential. So from the grassroots insights of village classrooms to the policy corridors of state reforms, the path forward is very clear. That is, keep the child at the center, empower the teacher as the guide, and engage the community as the backbone. So to create, not just educate individuals, but an empowered generations. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sunita. I know we're running very behind on time, so I will try to be as quick as possible. So, we heard from Mr. Venkat Reddy on who emphasized the significance of community engagement and the need to revive mechanisms for meaningful participation, such as school management committees. We heard from Dr. Sampath on the importance of supplementing and strengthening public schooling systems and on the importance of inculcating critical thinking as an integral part of these systems. We heard from Mr. Anekdhara on, extensively on an activity-based learning model with emphasis on how to create more child-centric classrooms and benefit from things like peer learning and emphasis on the overall well-being of children, teacher training, localizing curriculums, teaching and creating localized teaching learning materials, and also and finally we concluded with Dr. Sunita, who took us through what it takes to create large-scale programs and what it means for evidence to really inform these programs. And of course, she presented us with a lot of solutions from the insights that they have from their study. And she left us with the point that, of course, enrollment is near universal, but retention and making the learning that actually happens in the classroom seems to be the meaningful concern largely of the panel. A few more things that kept cropping up but didn't, of course, again, very short on time, but privatization was a significant through line through all of the panelists, this thing, and the need for preserving and supplementing and strengthening public education systems. And of course, the questioning of really empowering teachers as like the most significant adults in the room and on whose backs these programs are carried out. The significance of community involvement in very many ways, even though this and just really embedding these school systems within their context. Also, the question of how to develop critical faculties and connecting education to the context that the children are learning in, and also the urgent need for system-wide solutions. Some of the questions that I feel like the panel didn't have a lot of time to get through, but I feel like a lot of panelists were trying to flag were general questions of what we want the purpose of education to be, and also how this should meaningfully turn into curriculum design, how this can be meaningfully translated into local contexts. And also the other functions of school within rural contexts, and say, for instance, public health or child protection, Another question is of inclusive education, and even though some panelists have kind of pointed out, there's of course a lot of complexities in how you address caste or gender or class, or even disability for that matter within classrooms. So of course there's a lot to be learned, and we're hoping that the next panel will shed some more insight. And after having thoroughly exploited moderator's privilege in giving you my summaries, I'd like, do we have time for questions? How many questions?
Hello?
3 questions. Okay, yeah, so we have time for about 3 questions. So if there's anyone in the audience who has...
Question, guys, I want to talk, explain something. I want to respond.
Yes, please.
I want to respond. It's not a question. There's nothing to question here.
Okay. Yeah,
I want to
please.
respond.
Maybe we can take your response at the end of taking questions from
No,
everyone.
to these people, I want to respond.
Can we do that after we take all the questions so that the panelists can respond?
As you wish. I think they can question me. They can raise certain questions after my response.
Please go ahead.
Because it's much more important. That's why
Please.
I'm raising it. Can I take the mic?
Yeah.
It's not comfortable?
Yeah.
I think I better take. Friends, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I'm Narasimha Rao, Nellore. Basically, my field is political science. Quite accidentally, I came into the education field. 25 years back, I happened to participate in an adult education movement. While participating in the movement, I realized that most of the people, most of the agencies are not concerned with how people are learning. Most of the pedagogy, totally mechanical. And it was a context that when I left my studies in JNU, we used to discuss pedagogy of the oppressed of Paulo Freire. And not even 1% of the people, teachers, know about Freire's method, which is really suicidal. You cannot teach the poor, adults or children, without knowing Freire. And I started working on it, and I developed a theory for learning Indian languages by combining Freire with a method, with a statement. Actually, in those days, I came across in Christopher Caldwell's Illusion Reality. It's about the importance of rhythm. Unless you combine rhythm with the way people use their own language, you cannot teach them. That's why I developed a method and started working on it, developed a method. If you follow my method, within 30 hours, one can learn his mother tongue. And I got it practiced in so many schools and taught in, actually recently also we participated in, we had this, we had a session in Andhra. We realized 80% of school children, either private or government, are not in a position to read their mother tongue. 80%. Most of the teachers, especially government teachers, hide this fact. Even when you say, we are ready to help you, we are ready to do it, and it will be helpful to you also, even if you say this, they are not cooperative. Because they want to hide this fact. It's disastrous. School education in this country, especially public school, government school education in this country is really disastrous. And most of the people do not know every subject needs a method. For teaching Telugu, you need a method. For teaching English, you need a method. For teaching math, you need a method. But people don't bother about it. Thank you so much. This is what I want to say.
Thank you so much for your insights, sir. Are there any other questions from the audience? If you can keep it very brief, we'd be very, very grateful. If you could just raise your hand, then maybe they can bring the mic to you. Please also mention which panelists, or if you're addressing all of the panelists, just mention who you're addressing the question to.
Good afternoon. My name is Srinivasarao. I am having passion of the teaching because of that passion I cleared lectureship in UGC. But anyway, when since morning 11 o'clock onwards I have been with you. Actually, teacher should have passion to teach. Because not for the employment sake, people are teaching. When I don't have passion, I cannot deliver the goods. Because one IIT trainer, Mr. Khan sir from Patna, he used to prepare the IITians. वो बोलता है मेरा क्लास में जिस बच्चे को नहीं समझ में आया करके बोलने दीजिए बोलता है. Means he is that much confident. Means I can deliver the goods in such a manner the backbencher also can understand. Means that is the commitment. That is the commitment. When I was in Madhya Pradesh, Kendriya Vidyalaya Committee, some panel of the selection of the teachers, some recommendations have come. The principal said that your GM has been called and to select this girl. मैं बोला पाप जो होता है सर, ये क्लर्क का अगर काम नहीं करेगा बगल वाला कर सकता है. But teacher fails na daily agar 140, 60 children, means each class 40, 4 classes if he delivered this thing na, it is the mahapap of this country, not somebody else sir. So we should not recommended people को. उस गर्ल को जब मैं पूछा how you applied for this PGT, बोलता है सर नौकरी के लिए. मतलब for the employment sake she came. मैं बोला आपका कुछ passion है क्या? ना सर नौकरी चाहिए ना इसीलिए आया. So what we can expect from that girl? So teacher selection must be those people who are having the passion of teaching. It should be taken care by the government, otherwise NGOs and etc. This is my concern. Thank you.
Thank you. I think there was one question. I really hope this is a question, because I'm sure the panelists have things to say too. But yes.
Very good afternoon, everybody here. I'm really pleased to be among you also. I'm a primary school teacher. I'm Kranti Kumari from Siddipet district. Sir, what I believe always in my day-to-day classroom transactions is the ultimate strength and the consistent strength is my children, because every child can learn. We need to address the teaching gaps also. Always everybody thinks about the learning gaps. Why this child is not learning mathematics or science or Telugu? Why don't we introspect? As a teacher, we need to introspect. Where is the teaching gap? Because if the teacher enjoys the teaching learning process, I would like to clear it. Because always we focus on the plan and product, not the process. Process belongs to teacher and the student, and not only them, the parent community also. If we involve the parent community in our teaching learning process, ownership interventions, like just we have to invite the parents to the classroom transaction, not just during the PTMs. They know how their children learn, how they are getting engaging in the teaching learning process meaningfully, along with peers, teaching learning material and activity-based methods, experiential learning, whatever it is there. So every teacher, the strategies, whatever engage the young learners in meaningful strategies or outcome. Where the outcome, sir? The outcome is in the student, also in the teacher. When the teacher enjoys the teaching learning process, we will get students, teachers, how to teach them, because every child has innate skills, potentials and special interests also. We need to respect the children in the teaching learning process. Then obviously we will get progressive educational outcomes, learning outcomes. I do believe in that, because today I am here because of my children. I am able to talk with you all in the presence of eminent personalities, because I enjoy, I believe in my ultimate, that is youngest learners. So we need to address the teaching gaps also, whatever it is, strategy. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Yeah. Do we have?
Not only equality, always equality doesn't work. Equity, need-based educational practices to be done at ground level. Thank you very much.
క్వశ్చన్ కాదు ఆన్సర్ కాదు అయితే మాట్లాడాలి.
The moderator is asking for questions to the panel. Now better we ask questions. If any discussion is there, later, next part, we will have the discussions. So what she is saying is, ask the question to those panel, so that we will get something extra. Am I clear, please? Yeah, please. Pose questions.
Hello. Hi, myself Bandita. I am a PhD student, so it's not important. But I wanted to ask, like, I heard really very nice methods that has been used by Prathama and then reverse side school methods. So my question is, like, these are very unique ideas, and it's actually very important that it should be in school. But at least in my experience, if I go to a normal school, any school, like, but I will not see any of this being carried out there. Is it only under this special educational in the foundation that you are leading? How can it be like bringing to all particular schools to get this kind of methods? Because the bigger schools in Hyderabad, there are probably like very higher level of schools. But I have also taught some tuition, personal tuition or something. But in my experience, I feel like even those bigger schools do not have this very simple method of teaching. So that's what was my question, like how can it be integrated to all the schools?
Thank you. I mean, very quickly, you know, one is you are saying that when you go to any school, meaning whether it is a private school or government school, that is number one. Yes, even in the private schools, it's kind of, you know, the issues, and it's mostly on the rote learning and syllabus completion. And even in the government school, it is the same thing, like centralized syllabus and curriculum, and the teachers are supposed to complete it. But these kind of best methods and practices, why we are promoting, especially, you know, like whenever there are different stakeholders and there are passionate teachers like her, at least they will learn. But we believe that as an NGO having a lot of experience in the, grassroots level, I believe some of the teachers, at least 50% of the teachers, when they learn this kind of practices, they continue to do it. So this kind of mentoring is really important. But I'm sure with the kind of huge number of classrooms and schools, it's really very tough. Yes, I do agree. But we need to keep working.
Would you like to add something?
Yeah. See, we started schools for ourselves, and then the challenges that we were facing, we were looking into only our context, it was not meant for whole country kind of thing. But slowly over a period of time, the methods that we were using and then the kind of techniques that we were using in our classrooms, the people who visited us felt that no, this can be useful in their own context also. And we don't believe that the same will be replicable there. Then we had a discussions, and then whatever that you could take it from here, you can take it and then make it your own, customize it kind of to your local environment which suits to your content and all. And then in this process, we will help them. And if someone approaches us, then we will help us. That is how we did all these piloting projects across 18 states in India. So we went and then worked with them, and then we had some couple of pilot projects in each and every state in India. Not only in India, even in the other countries also, like African countries, a few European countries. So but it's all like need-based, and then if they approach, and then we help them out like that. But otherwise, we are not to share and running behind the governments and all. And there are a lot of challenges when it comes to scaling up. because the government policies are different. Each time teachers get transfers, you train well. After one follow these kind of things, he needs some infrastructure and other facilities which he will not get it there. And the government policies, understanding it is difficult for them. No, how can they see this methodologies or techniques in that context? So there are so many challenges, but still we are trying. And then, no, thank you.
Yeah.
I also happened to teach for 2 years in a government school, and my class size was 75. So was Karthik here. We taught in a school in government, and with a class size, my question is basically to Sunita ma'am, because Pratham and Acer, they do a lot of surveys. So in terms of the National Education Policy or the Right to Education Act, the schedule, they prescribe a student-teacher ratio of 35:1 or 30:1. But, and all states send their compliance reports giving a certain figures, how many, what is the teacher-student ratio. But the class size is an entirely different thing. Should we not be focusing on the class size? Because that's where, no matter how motivated a teacher is, if the teacher has 60 students, no kind of method, no kind of the learning time of each student drops, the average learning time, because, so would you kind of confirm this, or do you also do studies where the class size is done and examined, and what is your experience on this point? Thanks.
I think yes. Thank you. Class size, I think in urban scenarios, yes, I do agree. The class size will be, it's high. That 1:30 ratio, sometimes you don't find it. But as per our recent data, maybe I can give you correctly, almost 80% of the schools, government schools, they are below, like below or actually matching with 1:30 only. When you go to many schools in rural India, there are only 5 children, 10 children, you also can actually say that, and one teacher. So there are schools like that also. And definitely, in our experience, when we find such kind of classroom situations, we immediately report to the district education officer and then tell them, you know, you need to have another teacher there. So we recommend that, definitely, because we have certain such cases. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Even in, yes, a huge.
I'd like to thank all of the panelists for their incredibly valuable insights, and also the audience for. Oh, I think we have one more comment.
Only one question. Primary school, nearly 26 crores people join primary school. In the secondary level, in between, there are only 17 crores. Finally, who complete the secondary education, there are only 4.3 crores. So it is to be addressed, and what is the inherent defect in our education system? That is the one I want to know from the speakers.
Sir, is there anyone you want?
One thing.
Yeah.
Other thing I wanted to tell you is, ఒక ఉపాధ్యాయుడు ఒక విద్యార్థి యొక్క స్థాయిని తెలుసుకొని పాఠం చెప్పాలి. దానికి ఒక ఉదాహరణ చెప్తాను. పర్వాలేదా? 2 నిమిషాలండి. పర్వాలేదంటే మాట్లాడతాను. 2 నిమిషాలు ఎక్కువ టైం.
Sir, sorry, we're running very short on time. Can the panelists answer your question, and we can take the discussion later if we have time?
సరే. ఓకే.
యా, అయితే ద ఇష్యూ ఈజ్ యాక్సెస్. సీనియర్ సెకండరీ స్కూల్స్ చాలా తక్కువ ఉన్నాయి. యాక్సెస్ లేనితనం కూడా పిల్లలు కంటిన్యూ చేయలేకపోతున్నారు స్కూల్స్కు. సో ఈ ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ పబ్లిక్ స్కూల్స్ తెలంగాణ చూస్తే ఇంటర్మీడియట్ స్కూల్స్ 480 ఉన్నాయి, 430 ఏదో ఉన్నాయి. 1300 స్కూల్స్ ప్రైవేట్ ఉన్నాయి. So there is an issue of equity, justice and access. So adokati, and also the tracking children, dropout కాకుండా చూసుకోవడం. పిల్లలందరికీ ఒకటే ప్లాన్ జరగలేదు. ప్రైమరీకి జరిగింది, మధ్యాహ్న జరిగింది, తర్వాత జరిగింది. కాబట్టి ఈ యాక్సెస్ అనేది చాలా ముఖ్యం. యాక్సెస్ అంటే అర్థం ఇన్వెస్ట్మెంట్. ఇన్వెస్ట్మెంట్ ఇన్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఈజ్ ద ఇష్యూ. దట్ ఈస్ ఆల్సో అన్ ఇష్యూ. థ్యాంక్ యూ.
I think also we need to recognize that educational systems can't address deeper economic crises in the country. So we are also in an economic situation where children will drop out because they are being put to work, or they are going to work, they're helping their families. So everything cannot be addressed at the level of the education system, which is why I was also emphasizing that we need to have an understanding of the social sciences or of society in general, right? And what are those economic conditions that force the dropouts? What are those political conditions that force the dropouts, right? Whether it's caste conditions, caste relations, whether it is economic conditions. This, until and unless we see all of this in a holistic manner, we can't expect the schools to be addressing this question, is what I think.
Thank you so much to all the panelists for all of your insight. I'm sure everyone's eager to head to lunch. We will return from lunch at 10. Yeah. Please make sure to join us for lunch, and we'll return from lunch at 2:30 p.m. for the next panel, which promises to be a very exciting one. Thank you.
Hello, we have time for lunch until 2:30. It would be really nice to see everyone seated by 2:30. We have 45 minutes for lunch.